started to fall over the last couple hours. Just in time for the start of our elite men, getting ready to do 90 minutes around our 1 mile Criterium course at exactly 1 mile long. The perfect length for an American-style Criterium course where we don't even know what a kilometer is.
You've been saving that one all night, Brad. I'm glad you were able to throw that out. Yes, a rainy course, but these guys are expecting that. They're going to be running a lower tire pressure and very much ready for this course, no matter what. They're like mailmen. They rain or shine or sleet or snow, they're going to race their bikes.
Well, you can be sure that these guys were watching our elite women's race that just wrapped up. If you're one of the elite men and you just watch what happens, what's the lesson to learn from the Elizabeth Dixon breakaway that didn't quite make it to the line?
That a break can stick.
Yeah.
We saw it last night. We almost saw it tonight, getting second place Elizabeth Dixon. I think there's going to be some good fireworks tonight.
Well, let's take a look at some of the names on the start list here. Is Brandon Feary going to get #1 as the 2023 Amateur Criterium National Champion? A lot of last year's podium not returning to defend. Luke Lamperti, our defending champion, is a little busy with some bike race over in Italy right now, so he's focused on that as these guys get the chance to race for the Stars and Stripes jerseys. That really opens it up to, again, a lot of riders. There's probably 20 riders that are legit contenders for a Stars and Stripes jersey out there. We saw Gavin Lady on that list, the Avolo rider, winning last night in the U23 men's race. He'll be back out there today as looks like our elite men going to get right underway. All right, straight into it. Lauren, let's talk about some of the names that got a front row call-up for our men's elite start. They started with Brandon Feary, we talked about, wearing #1 on his back. Next came Michael Hernandez, also on the podium in last year's Amateur Crit National Championships. This year, they've sort of switched the scoring around a little bit, the way that the groups break down. There's no longer the sort of confusing elite and professional national championships. It is now just sort of one elite Criterium National Championship. And so guys like Brandon Feary will have the chance to go up against the World Tour riders in this group as well.
I think that's great. You know, it's nice to get a jersey, but it's also nice to race up against the best in the world to earn that jersey. So nothing is free as given.
Gavin Lady on that Avolo cycling team got a call up with his teammate Brody McDonald. They are two riders that are legitimate threats to this podium. Brody McDonald going to be the sprinter on that group, and then Gavin Lady got his win with a daring last lap solo breakaway last night. So that's one of the things that makes that Avolo team so dangerous. They have so many cards to play, kind of like we were talking about with DNA earlier, where they come with the numbers and the depth, and of course a development team as well. So all the more impressive for these kids.
And the aggressiveness of their racing tactics. These guys have always kind of laid it on the line and been a dynamic racing team led by Mike Creed. So always be looking out for the Avolo kit. But another favorite team for tonight is Project Echelon. Of course, we're going to talk about them no matter what. We got Sam Boardman up here at the front of the race right now, setting the pace. Consummate teammate. We love to have Sam up there. He's one of the most emotional teammates we've seen in the Peloton. I love that he wears his heart on the sleeve, and he's so excited when one of his teammates wins.
Boardman, Bickmore, and Stites all getting front row call-ups for that Project Echelon team. Tyler Stites definitely going to be the man for them on Sunday, but this is another team that's got a few cards that they could play in the Criterium here. I'm going to guess Cade Bickmore's probably their guy, but don't put it past Sam Boardman to get a win. He is a 99% of the time a team worker, but you give that guy a 1% chance to try, and he's going to put everything he's got into it. Some of the most emotional wins that I've seen have come from Boardman, one rider going down here and just saying, watch out for me, guys.
Nobody likes to be on the ground, and you definitely don't want to get run over by anybody else. So,
all things considered, that was about as good as that could have gone. Well, this is why Project Echelon's putting everyone up on the front here. Safest place to be. You're going to keep someone like Tyler Stites out of trouble, make sure that he doesn't have any issues ahead of his road race on Sunday here. Same story that we saw in the women's race. The strongest teams are going to get to the front because that's the best place to be. That's where everyone wants to be in there. Let's talk about some of the other big names in here. Danny Summerhill, the other name that got a front row call up. Haven't talked about him yet for that Rainstorm Elite Racing team, a new squad. They'll be in the orange jerseys, pretty easy to pick out in this field, about 7 or 8 wheels back right now. Summerhill has been another constant on the podium in these early season Criteriums. Got his 4th second place in a row at Athens Twilight this year, so he'll be hungry for a win. It's been an emotional year for Danny, losing his father recently, and certainly looking for a focus here. It would be an emotional win if Summerhill were able to bring that home for Rainstorm Elite. He does not have the team that he's used to racing. A lot of international riders on that Rainstorm Elite team, and so he's got to get used to racing with a little smaller squad than he's used to.
Didn't seem to be a problem for Corinne.
No.
You got to play the game. Michael Garrison coming up to the front. Michael had a good time trial on Wednesday. Not afraid to do the work. We also saw him at Speed Week as well, being very aggressive with Ribble Racing. We've got Cole Davis in here from Ribble Racing. Another rider to definitely be looking out for. Cole has had another good spring to this year for his season as well.
It's nice to see those Ribble Racing guys come over to the early season Criteriums. A British base team with the American Cole Davis on it. There's a little split off the front here under the watchful eye of Project Echelon, and it's Garrison right there in the green jersey just getting boxed in behind them.
Gingerly going around these corners, still trying to sort out what this course feels like underneath you. The turns, the pavement, the concrete, all the different changes. Mike's bike's off the front.
That's going to be Tim McBurney, Mike's Bikes Equators Coffee team. Mike's Bikes, very similar scenario to Fount Cycling, a team that I would say is underrated in the overall scheme of things here. They have some incredibly strong riders out of California there. But dangerous moves like this from Tim McBurney are how they win bike races, catching riders off guard, being the underdog here. This is a move that maybe you don't take seriously because you don't know how strong these guys are. McBurney not going to get any help behind him, as Project Echelon will go full team time trial train on the front. Keep their guys out of trouble here. And that's going to string this field out single file, almost front to back. See the way Project Echelon comes across to set up for that turn. That's another way to protect the front of this field. It looks like they're going all the way across the road, but that's sort of standard operating procedure in these fields. If you get caught out because those guys come over, it's kind of on you, because you know that that team is going to come over and set up for that outside line to hit the apex. Project Echelon putting on a clinic out there.
That's a good point, Brad. There's a little bit of a nuance to crit racing that some people don't understand. So right here, they take the inside and then they swing wide, and they're going to take the apex of the turn. Now, why do they stay to the inside? It's essentially to protect anyone trying to come up their inside, because if they come up their inside, they swing wide to take this apex, this person comes in with too much speed and not the right angle, and they're going to slide out and crash. And when they crash, they're going to slide wide and take you and your entire team with them. So essentially what you do is line up on the inside of the course to hedge your bets, and then right at the perfect timing you swing wide, and at that point no one else should or could potentially come up your inside, knowing that they too have to basically set up for that turn. So there's a little bit of a nuance to crit racing that it takes a while to understand as a racer and as a fan.
McBurney's only got one teammate back in this field on the wheels of Eamon Lucas. So he won't be counting on much help to do any blocking up here. Not like anyone could block Project Echelon anyway if they wanted to. And now McBurney just going to lock in here. Good form. Getting arrow. And more riders caught up. Looks like just one, though.
Is that Garrison?
It might be. Picture's a little pixelated for us here.
I hate to call that. Sorry, but.
Well, the good news is he was up and moving. More riders coming in from the pit here. There are 2 pits on this course, one on the start-finish stretch here, and then there's another on the backside. So good news is if you do have an issue, you're a little closer to the pits than a lot of courses. McBurney looking comfortable here. That's really all you can do. Just kind of, you know, ride your race, do what your engine can do, and see what the outcome is for the field. Saw a few more Rainstorm jerseys moving up to the front. That team actually a little bigger than I gave them credit for. I was talking about Danny Summerhill on the Rainstorm Elite Race, and they also have Ferg Arthur, Zach Barron is here, Michael Hernandez racing, Elijah House, Kyle Perry, and Tim Smith, all putting on Rainstorm jerseys today. So see a few of those orange jerseys back there. I can feel the fear in this group.
Just holding my breath.
It's a great shot there. Turn. You can really see the setup that the riders are taking into the turn. And if you try and correct that just a little bit while you're in the line, it's going to be a problem.
Someone just grabbing a little bit of debris off the course, a product of that crash we saw earlier. One long line of this peloton right now. Wow. If you are back here, Brad.
Good luck.
Yeah. you might as well start taking in the sights and sounds of Charleston right now.
Yeah, look how hard these guys back here are working 11 minutes into a 90-minute race. You got a tough 80 minutes ahead of you.
You're not setting yourself up well. But again, you know, we talk about, everyone says, oh, why don't they just move up? Well, that's the effort being put forth at the front of this peloton by Project Echelon right now. It is not that easy, obviously. That's why all these guys are in a one long line. They are trying to get as much draft as possible to just stay in that line. So if you're asking someone to move up, and you saw how long that line was, that's essentially like a 500-meter move up. Good luck.
Poor Tim McBurney being left out to dry here on the front.
Yeah, but this sets up Iman pretty well. As you know, there's no pressure on him. All the pressure is put on Project Echelon, which they are gladly accepting and wanting. They want to stay safe. They want to stay at the front of this race, and they want to protect their sprinter, which I imagine tonight is going to be Cade Bickmore. There's been a lot of conversation about him. He's done really well this year, too, having wins already this season. So he is probably out and out the favorite. And the likes of Danny Summerhill and Iman Lucas know that. And so everyone's basically just going to let this race play out, let Project Echelon stay at the front, do that in the hopes that they'll get a free ride to the finish.
You can see how exact that line is, too, in their single file. It really does go to the edge of that outside curb. If this corner were built any different by a couple inches, it would be unusable. But there is an apex line through that corner, room enough for one rider to take a perfect apex through, and that's it. I'm starting to wonder if Project Echelon is just going to let this sit out front, keep McBurney on a leash.
Yeah, why not? I mean, it keeps the peloton quiet. It keeps everyone kind of at bay. This is going to be a dropped rider here, just pulling off, yeah.
Nice to see these guys moving up. Lauren, how long would you expect in this field it would take you to get from the back of this group to the front? Like if you got the call over the radio and they said, hey, we need some help up at the front, you're in 84th place. How long is it going to take you to get up there to Project Echelon?
I don't know if you could. Yeah, I mean, it's going to take you, if I were to say, it's going to take you at least 5 to 7 laps. Doing it methodically, right, and not just an all-out sprint, because then you get to the front and you're gassed, and it's like, well, that was no point in doing whatever you just did, because you're going to go all the way back to the back of the peloton. But a concerted push towards the front, yeah, it's going to take you a while. There's 6 turns. Every one of them is dangerous in the rain. You only have the straightaways. There are 2 long straightaways, and then everything else is a couple of blocks and a turn. So, yeah, it would take you a significant amount of time, and I even think in those laps you would have to get in and have a break, because you're on your limit trying to. It's like a time trial effort trying to move up to the front. So essentially, Project Echelon, every time they have a man on the front, he's basically doing a time trial effort and saving 2 or 3 matches to say, okay, my time is done, someone else filter in. That's why they have the entire team up there, is essentially just doing a team time trial right now tonight. It better pay off. If you're a worker bee, that's what you're saying to yourself. I don't mind doing all this work, but that puts a lot of pressure on your sprinter, and as a sprinter, I was a sprinter, and you welcome that pressure. Pre-race, you know, you love crits, you love sprinting, and, you know, you also want to pay back your team in dividends by winning the race. And you take on that pressure, and it can also crumble a lot of men and women. So you have to know how to manage that, and as your team, they have to know how you handle that situation. You talk about climbers and sprinters and their nuances and how they're different, and sometimes you don't even want to be around a sprinter because they're in their head so much and they will just snap at you in a second. So you just want to let them have their bubble and have their moment and sit back there and do their thing, and like, we're here for you, what do you need? Nothing, leave me alone, just race.
Project Echelon certainly no stranger to this scenario. They did this exact same thing at the Tour de Gila Criterium, where they had 1 rider away. They let him stay out there almost the entire race, except for the last lap when they made a Elizabeth Dixon-esque catch just at the line to ruin the day for the solo rider. And I think Tim McBurney might be signing himself up for the same program here.
It is an art form to bring it back at the right moment, and it is, they almost messed it up at Tour de Gila. They'll tell you that. They made the day a lot harder than they actually wanted. So, you know, you learn that lesson, and you go back to the drawing board, and you come out here tonight knowing exactly how you want to play this race, and how many guys you want to let up in the breaks. That's what happened at Tour de Gila, is they let 7 guys up in the break, so it was basically 6 against 6. And that's not what they wanted, but hopefully tonight that's not going to be the case.
Field back to single file, front to back here. And one by one, you're going to see riders getting popped off the back. There's one guy in the gap here, still trying to figure out who that is. Just dangling in between these 2 groups. And it's going to be Ian Williams, the Expeditors rider. The dark blue jersey up there. And he could not get to Tim McBurney fast enough.
Right.
That's good, though. He's away, and away by 3 bike lengths. I didn't say how much he was away by. I just said he was away.
And then the shot pans over, away on the right-hand side of the road.
Yeah.
Project Echelon on the left-hand side of the road.
There's that other pit on the backside of the course we were talking about. Rain has ceased for the moment out there. Fortunately, this road's not going to dry before the end of the bike race. I think there's enough water out there that there'll still be some on the ground. That's going to be it for Williams trying to go across. Just like that, McBurney back to a solo effort here.
You essentially have Project Echelon entire team lined up, and then right behind Project Echelon you have Danny Summerhill, Michael Garrison, and Iman Lucas in that order.
Wow. See some riders grabbing bottles here as McBurney's gap coming down a little bit. But like a true poker player, he's going to ride this hand out all the way until the end.
We have Miami Blazers congregating behind Danny Summerhill. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see another attack coming sooner than later with more than one guy trying to go up the road.
I mean, is this the only way to beat someone like Project Echelon? What do you do in this scenario? How do you overcome 7 riders lining up on the front like this?
You got to take your chances. You know, having Iman Lucas, you know, sitting in the catbird seat, not having to do anything while his teammate is up the road, but at the same time, you know, you can't just bet on this all coming down to a sprint finish. We saw Elizabeth Dixon basically almost winning the national championship up the road, coming in second. So wet roads, take your chances. What do you got to lose? The race? Yeah, but you got, your chances are now down from 1 in, what was the start? 70 or 80 to, you know, 1 in 6. And it's, you know, that's, you got to hedge those bets. You got to play that game.
All right, well, McBurney coming back into the group as we hit the reset button here in Charleston. We're going to take a quick break here from the Pro Criterium National Championships, and when we come back, more live racing here on FloBikes.
And they're back. Looks like a rider being thrown into the pit. Riders on the inside here. The Echelon steamer and maybe on the side, the opposite side. We open up some room. Riders in the pit. Oh, they can turn over here. Looks like a landed cycling rider in the white and the neon right here. Turning over a huge gear to back up the speed. So the mechanical takes place and throw back into the race. The riders are on the front. They have an obligation there to make sure that others are safe in the race as well. So there is some etiquette going on. We talk about the physicality, we talk about the bumping of the shoulders and elbows and close racing, but there is an etiquette out there within racing, whether it's cheering, whether it's a road race. Riders do take care of each other out there.
23 minutes into the 90-minute race here for the elite men. We have just watched Tim McBurney come back from his daring solo expedition off the front, but no results to report, Captain, as Project Echelon gets back to taking over here from a group of what was 100 riders down to maybe 80 out there now. It's been a slow, steady selection on the back here at the Criterium National Championships.
Yeah, and that 80 will just continue to dwindle throughout the night with Project Echelon pushing this pace going to control the front of this race as long as they can, try and basically control it the entirety of the race. Tyler Stites right on the front, taking his turn.
Nice to see Stites doing a little bit of work. This would be a rider who would certainly have the right to go into this saying, hey, I need to focus on Sunday. I'm not going to do any work here. As the team leader, you know, I need to take the night off. I need to win the national championships on Sunday. But Stites willing to work for the team just like the team is going to be willing to work for him on Sunday. And he knows that that's how you get the buy-in from this Project Echelon team. Letting guys like Sam Boardman try and get wins so that when you need Sam Boardman to help you, you get 100% from him.
Exactly right, Brad. And Tyler's coming off a second place TT National Championships this past Wednesday to Brandon McNulty. So Brandon had won last year, the outright favorite for this year too. So Brandon McNulty punching his ticket to the Olympics with that win, but what a great ride for Tyler Stites as well, coming in second place.
A little aggression on the front here. Someone popping off to the side. Is this Lawson Craddock?
Yes, Lawson is racing here tonight. Actually saw him in the lobby of the hotel earlier today, and yeah, he's like, yeah, why not? I'll give it a crack. Come on. Yeah, why not?
Craddock, no stranger to Criteriums. Originally riding out of Texas, but now lending his talents to that Jayco squad on the road. There's some hard Criterium racing down in Texas. You and I got a chance to check out that Driveway series down there earlier this year. They got a great scene down there.
Do you know that Lawson told me he thinks it's the hardest Criterium racing in North America?
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they have such a good turnout every week in the summer. The Driveway series just brings out so many riders in the Texas area.
It is everything that is good and pure about American bike racing down there in Austin. Race director Chris Tolley from that Driveway series actually in this race as well. So another guy who's burning the candle at both ends with a full-time 9-to-5 job and still finding a way to hang into this elite field. Garrison up to the front now. See, this is dangerous.
Yeah,
I would never in my life let these two go away up the road.
No way. You can't let Lawson Craddock off the front with Michael Garrison. But it has happened.
Or try and get into this break. That would be my other course of action right here. Yeah, just spend 9 laps getting to the front of the field so that you can come join this breakaway. The problem is all the valuable real estate here that would allow anyone to do anything is occupied by Project Echelon. See one rainstorm jersey on their back. And if Garrison and Craddock can cooperate here, the legs don't get much better than this on paper.
No doubt. And race savvy. These guys are very experienced racers. This is something that Project Echelon is going to be super keen on, and they may let this stay out a bit, but they're a little uncomfortable with the two of them together.
Not going to get the full McBurney treatment today. But this may not be a choice for Project Echelon to make. It might be up to these two guys. They need to establish a big gap quickly, though. Gap's growing by about a second. Lauren, is this a scenario where these guys kind of read the race and maybe saw what was happening out there? Is this a plan for them? Do you even have a plan coming into a Criterium like this?
Yeah, you definitely have a plan, especially you're solo, you don't have any teammates, you're 28 minutes into the race. The nerves have worn off, the warm-up has happened, you can kind of see players, how people are going to race this race, and yeah, you take a chance. Because if they're out there for a bit, they get caught, they still have time to recover and be there at the finish. And, you know, you've seen a couple of crashes, one-off crashes happen, and that can also strike a nerve to say, what do I got to lose going out there? I know I'm strong, I know I'm savvy, I'm confident enough to be out there and give it a shot.
Little gap opening up about halfway through. It's another thing you have to keep an eye on. There's some reinforcements coming up to the front of the field. What they're doing there remains to be seen. This is Ian Garrison in the green, Lawson Craddock in the blue and white behind him. And then the entire Project Echelon team on the front of the field.
It's 10 against 2. So Project Echelon is not going to completely panic here. They've definitely got the numbers to bring those two guys back. Those two are very strong, but so is a 10-man team time trial.
Project Echelon brings, and this one's falling apart. Is Craddock going to let this open up? This is experience right here, because Lawson sees the writing on the wall. He's not going to waste any more energy than he needs to. If it didn't get away the first 2 laps, it ain't going to go.
Exactly.
And Lawson Craddock knows that, so he's going to pull the plug and go back in. Falling victim to that Project Echelon tempo, being led up on the front earlier by what will be the team leader on Sunday, Tyler Stites. They also bring Hugo Scala Jr., Brendan Rim, Scott McGill, Colby Lang, Caleb Clausen, Sam Boardman, Kate Bickmore, Stephen Bassett, and Ricky Arnapol. There are some contenders in their own right on that list, but when you get them as domestiques, makes the team that much stronger. Now Garrison left solo away. And I think that's it for him too.
Right, you can tell the body language. He sits up on the hoods of the bars right there. He's not aero, he's not, his head's not rocking back and forth, like putting forth a ton of wattage in the pedals, so yeah, Michael lost Lawson, and he's like, you know what? Okay, yeah. If he's not going, I'm not going.
Well, still an hour of racing yet to go, so plenty of opportunities to do this again if he wants to. And now you look for that counterattack, see if anyone's going to jump here. Somebody moving off to the side. This has got to be disheartening for anyone that was hoping for a breakaway too. If you just watch Lawson Craddock and Ian Garrison try and fail, that does not bode well for many other guys in this field. Garrison's like, get me off of the front of this bike. I just want to be caught. So see one rainstorm jersey hanging out up there. Such a strong message that Project Echelon has been sending for the first 30 minutes here, and it seems like it's working. They have struck fear into the heart of anyone that was hoping for a breakaway here. If you were thinking that was part of your plan, Project Echelon is sending a pretty clear message that that decision is going to have to go through them.
Well, and at least, you know, again, looking back at the women's race and how that played out, Corinne had to buy her time. You had to let the race come to you. So the Danny Summerhills, the Tyler Williams of the group that we haven't talked about yet, Miami Blazers, you have to let the race come to you. You have to let these guys ride the front, fatigue a bit, in the hopes that when it comes time to raise the pressure and raise the speed, that some of them will falter, and your numbers on the front for Project Echelon will diminish. But yeah, unfortunately, you kind of have to let the race come to you and let these guys, you know, do this work. You see the pace dropping down here, which brings others to the front.
I think this is Eamon Lucas, the other half of that Mike's Bikes team. Someone going to try and go just at the top of the picture there. A little gap opening. I think that is. Yeah, that's Lucas. He's gone. I didn't see him at the front of that group.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's got to be Eamon. Well, now Project Echelon has a new problem on their hands in a solo Eamon Lucas. They let Tim McBurney have about 10 laps off the front. We'll see how long Eamon stays out there or if he gets any company. But even with Craddock and Garrison up the road, it wasn't enough. So he's going to need some serious firepower with him. Hardly any change in the top 15 spots here on the front. These guys are pretty comfortable, and everyone behind them is happy to let Project Echelon keep doing what they're doing.
And I don't really think Eamon is given 100% up here. I think he just wanted to stretch his legs a bit. Miami Blazers moving up the left side of the peloton a bit.
Big gear, low cadence here.
I would gather that Eamon likes this course. He is a pure sprinter. He's a bigger guy. He's tall. Got a bit more upper body muscle than your typical cyclist, I'd say. So probably a welcome change of venue for him.
Spent a little time racing and training in Europe, so not afraid of conditions like this. Spent, I think, a significant amount of time in Belgium was kind of the base there. Noticed a lot of those Blazer and Legion jerseys just hanging out near the front. Seems like Robin Carpenter getting up there, also looking for some clean air. But again, if Project Echelon's doing the work,
let them.
Yeah.
Oh God. Just when you kind of take your eye off the ball and you kind of get lulled into this rhythm, some of these guys want to shake it up for you. Nobody went down, thank goodness.
Saw one rider just kissing the curb there on that last corner.
That's really what you can't see on TV, and what I love about those the cameras that are on the bikes is, like, in the Peloton action, that you get some of that coverage, is how on the limit they race their bikes all the time. They are meant to have poker faces, meant to make it look easy, but that's the professional bit of it. But what, you know, in reality, it's they are on the limit all the time.
So it may give an image of confidence for Project Echelon riding on the front the way they are here. You know that every corner, those guys are holding onto those handlebars just a little tighter. Lucas gaining a little time, about 10 seconds. I love watching the Legion riders just let Project Echelon go here. I mean, if you were trying to move up, they could attack right there and kind of get squeezed into that outside corner a little bit. That would be a place that you can make up time, but they're very clearly checking up and just letting Project Echelon go. Seen a few riders bumping shoulders as well, usually in the setup to these tighter turns, because if you're not on the perfect line, like if you're not in that apex, you're not going to make the turn, and riders got to fight for those lines to get there.
Rider in difficulty in the back of the peloton right there. Looks like he's unclipped or something.
It's gonna be Matthew Doyle, Rio Grande Elite Cycling Team. And Lucas gonna get his biggest gap of the day here. $40 minutes in to the 90-minute race. I love watching this scramble back in the field. The hardest working people in this bike race are the last 15 riders in here chasing that snap after every corner.
And that's exactly what Project Echelon wants. They want it to be just hard enough for them to not allow anyone to feel comfortable enough to just move up to the front and take over, but also not hard enough that they're breaking up their team time trial in essence.
Lucas still away here, stretching out the neck a little bit as Lawson Craddock going to make his way up here to the front to give a little help to Project Echelon into the corner here. He may try and go up and join Eamon Lucas. We will keep an eye on that here from Charleston. We're going to take a quick break here as our elite man out on course. Just about 50 minutes left here at the USA Cycling Criterium National Championships.
Phenomenal job, great presence, keeping her wits about her, totally a part of the race and engaged in that race. Phenomenal racing, it was great to see, great to hear what she had to say about it.
Yeah, I totally forgot that there was 2 races in one. You know, so we're talking about teams chasing. Maybe their objective was not for the under-23, as in the case of Unesco. So yeah, totally forgot about that. And what a brilliant way to set it up, because there was no pressure on them, like she said, to chase anyone that wasn't under 23.
And I know that mindset, that mentality was present there at the CCP as well. They were thinking about, who we have to chase, what do we have to do, and part of that strategy before the race was, well, let's pay attention to who it is, and if they're off the front of the U23. Sinista doesn't really pass by the top step. He asked the team to compare that racing on the second side. He counted seconds on all of the races that were on the first side.
I was.
Welcome back, Charleston, West Virginia, for our USA Cycling Professional Criterium National Championships. Our elite men out on course just about halfway through their race tonight on a beautiful downtown 1-mile Criterium circuit as the rain's starting to let up just a little bit for these guys in the last half of their race. We're being joined in the booth right now by a very special guest, the mayor here in Charleston, Amy Schuler-Goodwin, who has been a big part of bringing our national championships here. And I got to say, Amy, after just a couple days here in Charleston, we are thrilled to be back here for the next 4 years. Talk a little bit about how this came together. What made you want to bring the national championships to town?
Well, we are thrilled to have you, and we're looking forward to the next 4 years. You know, we're called the Mountain State for a reason. We're in the capital city of West Virginia, and so there's no better outdoor state than West Virginia. And so a lot of the cyclists that I've talked to are saying that the course is great, the hills are great, and we have more hills and valleys than almost anyone. So it's a great course, as you probably well know.
Yes, I look forward very much to get on the course tomorrow and checking it out. I was also at the Canal State Park this morning. It's absolutely gorgeous. The trails are beautiful. Talk to us a little bit about the sports tourism that you are bringing to the state of West Virginia.
Yeah. Sports tourism, you know, I say all the time, they think of travel and tourism as we're the fun people. We're also the money people. The economic development that this has brought to Charleston, West Virginia, and the state of West Virginia is monumental. Having all of these cyclists here not only just shines such a great light on the state of West Virginia and the capital city, but also the sport of cycling. I'm a hockey mom, and I grew up a golfer, so I will say I am learning a lot about the sport of cycling. But we have a very big cycling community here. It was one of the main reasons that we went out for this, and we really wanted to secure this bid to have this for the next 5 years because, you know, our hills and valleys are very important to us. And as Appalachians, we're very proud of everything that we have, everything that we built, and everything that we do. We're really hardworking folks, and we really are proud of our communities. And I think that you can see through the video that you're showing tonight and the video that you'll be showing about the race and who we are. We're really proud of it.
You talked about the feedback from some of the riders. We have gotten incredible feedback from the citizens here. We have been welcomed with open arms in a way that we have never before seen for our Criterium National Championship. So it has been really great being welcomed into Charleston the way that we have.
Well, it has been such a thrill and such a high for me. I actually got to meet Corinne yesterday. You want to talk about a dynamic person? I love her. She's calm, she's cool, she's reflective. She was having a short story pizza last night, and so I'm going to say that threw her over the top, why she's so great. But it's so amazing, and it's such you want to talk about a welcoming community. The cyclists and their families are so fun. They're so fun to be around. They have such passion, not only for themselves and what they've put into the sport, but each other. You know, you look at this as an individual sport, somebody who's been an outsider, but it's not. It's such a team and such a team effort. And even those individual riders, the moms that I've met, the dads that I've met, the partners that I've met, it's so significant. And it's been so fun to watch and so fun to be a part of this. And we're over the moon for real. If you can see the video of some of our crowds that are in the corners, they're not leaving, by the way.
No.
Charleston is staying up late again for the second night. You know, my bedtime, as my husband would tell you, is about 8:20. But I'm up again tonight because this is so vibrant and so fun to watch. What they put in, and having sat down with several of the cyclists, what they put into their bodies, what they put into their brain, this is such an amazing experience for me to listen to them, how they physically prepare, how they mentally prepare. And it's so fun to be a very small part of their success, each and every one of them. I talked to a young man who didn't make the podium in the juniors, but he was so encouraged to be back and so happy about what he did accomplish. As a mom of two boys, it was fun to listen to him talk.
So you're talking, you come from a different background, different sporting background. I came from soccer. So I got into cycling. What are the odds that we are going to get you on a bicycle and out there maybe to do a ride?
Well, this is so fun. I'm doing one tomorrow. Great. Because we're giving away to 100 kids tomorrow in Charleston, West Virginia, new bikes.
Right on.
Oh, my God. That's amazing.
So we are trying right now, and I have a semi-new bike. Not really
That's
new.
all you need. Good
but
enough.
I'm getting on my bike tomorrow with 100 Charleston kids, from this big to this big, to say, look at what they're doing, and oh, by the way, you have to see it to be it.
Yep.
So thank you.
Yep.
Thank you for coming to Charleston, West Virginia, for showing our littles that they can do it as well. So actually, I'll be riding tomorrow.
Wow.
Thank you so very much. Not like they're riding, but
Yeah.
I'm going to do my very best to at least not embarrass the kids that I'm riding with tomorrow.
Well, sounds like we've got at least 100 new cycling fans in the pipeline. I'm going to make you the 101st because I think we've got a convert on our hands here. So, Mary, thank you for all that you have done. I know it's been a big team that helped bring this together, but we couldn't do it without you, and we cannot wait to be back for the next 4 years here in Charleston, West Virginia. It's been a real honor to be here for year one.
Yeah, welcome to the Mountain State.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we'll let you get back out to the party as it's still continuing to build here, just about halfway through our race. Thank you so much for all that you have done, and we'll let you get back out to your people on the streets of Charleston, West Virginia. Mary Amy Schuler-Goodwin right here in Charleston, as a little bit of rain, maybe a little bit more than a little bit, starting to fall for these guys.
That's just straight deluge now.
Even Lucas still out there, but not by much. Heaviest the rain has fallen all night now for these guys.
Well, and I was looking at the forecast, and this is the time, basically now until midnight is predicted just almost 100% rain. But again, it's basically been raining all week, so it doesn't really change too much, and it was raining pre-race, so these guys already have organized tire pressure to what they need it to and feel comfortable. And you know, honestly, when it's raining like this, it kind of is more comfortable than just that slight drizzle and just that slight dampness to the course. This is just out and outright, you know, wet roads, and it's almost a bit safer, I would say. It's not as safe as dry roads. That's ideal conditions, but you know what? You get what you get.
Better than the gray area in between wet and dry. Project Echelon still up on the front. Does the rain benefit anyone? Is there anyone in this field saying, oh, good, some rain coming down? I mean, maybe a solo guy trying to get away might be into this.
Well, you know, like we were talking with Corinne, that's exactly what she was saying, is sometimes people just totally shut down when the rain falls because it does add a dynamic of danger to the race. You just have to be, if you're going to be winning tonight, you got to be mentally tough and have the fortitude to know that you can ride your bike really well and that you are prepared for this. You do train in the rain at times. And yes, just like there are different personalities, there's some athletes that are good in the rain and some that aren't.
Wow. Full team still up there. In pretty much time trial mode. It's a great shot of the rain with the light coming in on this camera right here. You can really see how heavy it is raining now.
Adds to the epic factor.
We were talking about earlier, this makes it even tougher for these riders to move up if you're not inside the top 20 here. Got a long night ahead of you.
What this rain does add is a bit of spray from the wheel in front of you into your face, and it's almost like annoying a dog in the face. You know, some dogs don't like it. It's kind of like that spray in your face. And again, just like Corinne was saying, is like some people can handle it and some can't. So you'll see guys try and get ever so slightly to the left or to the right of the wheel in front of them just to kind of avoid that spray in your face, or you'll see them kind of move their head a little bit. I mean, these are just teeny tiny nuances that we may not even capture on camera, but just thinking back when I was racing back in the old days,
it wasn't that long ago. Come on now.
That was always something I would try and do. And again, we saw Corinne also ditch the glasses, so you know, just another thing to think about.
Crowd hanging in there.
Yeah.
Got to give the locals some credit here in Charleston.
It's a great temperatures. There, 70 degrees outside, and the rain is a bit welcome. It's not that bad actually. It's just the perfect temperature to watch bike racing. Unfortunately, it's raining, but maybe a couple of adult beverages will help with that.
In the Midwest, we say it's a dry heat.
Oh,
I guess you say it's a warm rain. Don't worry,
Yes.
it's fine. It's a warm rain.
And in the Southwest, we call it a dry rain because it dries up so fast.
Okay.
Always trying to take the positives, Brad.
Mr. Sunnyside.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm looking for all the positives I can get for these guys out there right now. These are tough conditions, but one thing's for sure, we're going to get a worthy national champion out of this one. These types of national championships are tough because it's maybe not representative of the typical criterium. Like, obviously, I would say a majority of the criteriums that they're going to do throughout the year here in the U.S. would be raced on dry roads. And so it's kind of like having the hill in Knoxville last year. It's a unique criterium setup, but this one, certainly a standard course. I just don't know how many deluges of rain these guys will race in throughout the year, but whoever wins this jersey is going to deserve it.
You're exactly right.
There's no hiding here. Just staying in this group for 90 minutes would be good enough for me.
Well, now, Brad, we need you to win.
Oh, well, you got the wrong guy.
It's not just good enough to be in the pack.
Yeah. So, and that's the difference between the mindset of a commentator here and the mindset of a bike racer. That's why I'm in here and they're out there soaking wet. There's not been a single change on the front of this field for 55 minutes, aside from the guys getting away. Project Echelon fully in control here.
Wow. Just see the spray all through the Peloton. No one is immune to that.
Trying to get a look at the riders further back, but the lighting is not my friend here tonight. Just seeing a whole lot of blue and black up there. Still trying to ID that rainstorm rider. I think it's Summerhill up there. Stites again on the front. Not seeing the urgency to move up in this field that we did in the women's race earlier. We talked about the washing machine effect in the women's race. That is not the case here. This is more like a clothesline.
Yeah, you'll see the Project Echelon guys. We've seen it a couple of times. They just let off the gas a little bit. I don't know if just a reshuffle or someone else at the front, and you have seen the group kind of bunch up ever so slightly, not trying to come over the top, but just the momentum, and they swing out. It kind of bunches up, and as soon as it bunches up, that's when Project Echelon moves from the inside of the course to the outside of the course to take that apex, and so that just basically cuts that momentum off, and then boom, they're back into single file again. which again, no one is trying to overtake Project Echelon. It's just the nature of the beast of kind of that, you know, what there is a bit of a washing machine effect behind them, but ever so slightly, you know. But again, that was just a product of a slowing of pace, but not right now.
There's some of that spray you were talking about earlier, which is almost worse than the rain falling, that fine mist, especially on the glasses. Let's take a little time to pour one out for the mechanics today.
They're going to have a long night
They're
tonight.
on my mind. Appreciate the hard work that all the team mechanics do. Keep these riders up and rolling. I'm going to guess the Soigneurs might have an extra load of laundry to do as well.
Yeah.
This might be a 2-cycle night.
This is when you think that, you know, Project Echelon has 10 guys here, and someone's going to have to clean 10 bikes tonight after the race. Whereas some other teams have, like Iman Lucas and Mike Bikes teams, they have 2 guys.
Yeah.
Well, they may even be looking after their own bikes. Not every team is going to have a mechanic or a full-on staff, Swanee to make their bottles like you're talking about, or even a team director to kind of give them race instruction. But, you know, Project Echelon does have that staff here. This team is so big that they are here at National Championships, and they are also fielding a team at the New York City Gran Fondo this weekend. So they are spreading themselves to a couple of different races, representing, you know, across the country.
It's been incredible to watch the growth of that program, the rise through the ranks. They really set out to make a European campaign, sticking to that the pure road racing sort of DNA of that team, and the results of riders like Tyler Stites have really spoken for themselves. It's a successful last few years for Project Echelon, who will openly say that they are not building a Criterium team, they're building a road team, they're sending riders to Europe. That's the goal. It's not to win Criteriums here in the US, as it may have been a few years ago, but they made the commitment to take the step, and seems to be a pretty successful campaign so far.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch the progression of this team and to be a little bit on the inside as well, helping out team owner Eric Hill gladly, because I love everything that the team stands for, and the guys that they sign are just really classy guys. So Eric's motto is essentially to get better, just 5% every year. So he's not trying to make one big leap to some sort of World Tour team. He's just every year just a little bit better, which means you know, bigger team, better races, you know, really setting that team up for success, and we've seen it happen.
They're also in a weird place in the sport where you can measure success based on how many riders you lose to the next level, right? Riders that are going to graduate to a higher level team here is a mark of success for someone like Eric Hill. He's going to be bummed to lose some of his star riders, but ultimately that's really the goal.
And there are a couple of guys in this Peloton tonight that were on the team the first couple of years. Brandon Fury is here. Will Harden is here, Velocious. And I would, you know, Will is definitely trying to make a name for himself and for his team, and someone that he's fun to follow on social media. He does YouTube recaps from the races that he attends. So, you know, it's a small Peloton when it comes down to it, and all these guys pretty much know each other. And, you know, it's good to see that camaraderie and friendship continue on, even though they may be on separate teams.
Riders snaking across the backside of the course here. I'm looking to see if any other teams are starting to link up, as we're inside 30 minutes to the finish of this bike race.
Yeah, we were talking about the Miami Blazers were kind of globbed together behind Project Echelon, more of the 2s and 3s. The tricky bit with everyone gathering together, lining up, is it kind of sends a message to the Peloton of, oh, they're about to do something. So a lot of times if you want to be near your teammate or on your teammate's wheel because you trust them the most, you know them the most, and it's the safest place. We always talk about that. But you know, you also don't want to send a message that, hey, we're going into a controlled effort to get together for a reason, because then it just elevates the intensity in the Peloton. So yeah, you'll see, like you're saying, you'll see teams gather, but not necessarily be lined out like we see Project Echelon. One rider getting pushed back in from neutral support. Still having problems getting clipped in, it looked like.
All things considered, this has been a relatively calm race. Happy to say there haven't been a ton of incidents out there with the rain.
Yeah, Project Echelon controlling the front. Maybe not the most exciting race right now, but again, I just go back to what Corinne Lebecki says. You got to let the race kind of come to you and be patient. So we all have to be patient.
I'm running out of it. You know, as they say, don't hate the player, hate the game, right? And that's all that Project Echelon is doing here, is playing the game. Doing exactly what they need to do to win a Criterium National Championship.
Yep.
And they're not here to entertain a couple of board announcers. They're here to win the bike race.
You're right, Brad. I mean, I have to like it.
These guys moving up the outside. Now we're starting to get some of that washing machine. Now Rodder's starting to take the opportunity to move up a little bit.
Lawson moving up again. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him put in another tack. And seeing that we've seen him off the front already, if I was racing in this Peloton towards the back and I'm solo or I only have 1 or 2 teammates, I'm going to key off of him. And I'm going to even talk to him. It's like, if you'll go up the road again, I'll go with you. I'll work with you. That happens in racing, very much so. And my gosh, who wouldn't want to go up the road with Lawson?
There's sort of a unwritten camaraderie between a lot of the teamless riders, I guess. You have to link up. I mean, that's your only chance, really, of having any sort of strategy here. And so, well, like we talked about Garrison and Craddock earlier, that was a perfect duo. They're about 40 minutes too early on the move, but it was a good makeup.
You never know unless you try, because those guys could have brought out 3, 4, 5 other riders that, you know, potentially aren't too big of a threat to Project Echelon, but it didn't happen. They saw the writing on the wall after a couple of laps. Well, Lawson sooner than Michael, and they, you know, said, all right, look, we're going to go back, save our energy.
Good on Lawson to get out here and race the crit. A lot of times we see riders that will come over from Europe. It's a little too risky to race the crit, so they'll skip that and just do the road race. But I think Lawson wants to have a little fun and wants to get back a little bit, kind of fly the flag while he's back in the U.S., get any chance he can to race on U.S. soil.
Yeah, it also kind of helps the sensations. If he's coming from Europe, you can ride a couple of days, get over the jet lag, but you kind of need to put that speed and effort back in your legs. And what better way than signing up for the crit and racing the crit? That, and like I said, it helps with your mental focus and kind of taps into that central nervous system to really kind of get you ready for Sunday. But yeah, you're right. And you know, we talk about, you know, the crit and a lot of riders trying to save it for Sunday, as we're saying. When you win a road national championship and you get that jersey, that's an automatic call up to every single road race you go to. And, you know, who wouldn't want to take that back to Europe? Like we're going to see someone on Sunday. And, you know, when you get that call up at every single World Tour race, that's huge. It's huge for your country. It's huge for your team. It's huge for you and your family and your community of where you come from. So it's a point of pride, and it's something you want, and this national championships are not given away. So yeah, you definitely want to come over here and try your hand at the crit and the road race, the time trial. You know, might as well.
Legion moving up behind Project Echelon now. They're starting to amass a few riders, but nothing really to speak of yet. I think I just saw McBurney back in there. Not sure if that was Tim or Eamon. Both had tries at it off the front. Little conversation right now between a couple of the Legion guys. See those blue helmets right there? They just had a little chat. I would give anything to hear what they were chatting about.
How you feeling?
Whether it was bike racing related or not.
Yeah. Do you want to sprint in the rain? Sometimes you just go up and just say something random, just because, again, we've talked that we're kind of lulled right now.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to go up to your teammate and be like, hey, so how's it going? I've been
Good time to crack a joke now. I think that speaks to the type of rider that you were in your time, Lauren. Somehow able to. You called me the optimist. You're the one cracking jokes an hour 9 into the stage.
For sure. No doubt. Nice to see that we're in laps to go now. Counted down, 9 to go. You can kind of really hone in on what's left.
Yeah, we are rapidly running out of time for a group to get away here. And if one doesn't go in the next few laps, certainly looking like a field sprint tonight. It's going to be a fun one to call.
It's going to be, yeah. I was going to say good luck, but I'm also sitting here, so.
We'll do our best.
Yeah.
In the dark and in the rain here. There's Craddock moving up. Just picked up another couple. Notice he's doing it in the turn. Lawson Craddock took the outside line here and moved up a little bit. Just 2 spots, but that certainly sends a message. When someone like Lawson Craddock takes 2 spots in a corner, he's going somewhere.
Yeah, it's also a message that he's very comfortable on his bike.
It's him off to the right-hand side of the picture right there. You'll see him just float in. Looks like there's some standing water on the left side of the picture here, like just on the outside of that line. There's a pretty good puddle starting to form there.
You can also tell they're kind of taking, well, I think not kind of, they're taking that corner. Oh, no!
That's what you're afraid of.
I was going to say they were just taking that a bit gingerly because they're not going all the way to that corner. That's a Project Echelon rider down right there.
Yeah, it was about 6 or 7 back. I'm not sure who it is. And luckily, it doesn't look like anyone else was involved in it. That is going to be Colby Lang. Losing his grip around the corner.
There's still time to get in the race, though.
Yeah.
To get back in the race, he's going to have a couple of free laps.
Yeah, if Lang can get to a pit, he'd have to be out in 2 laps. So we'll see if Colby Lang gets back up there. The other problem is you have to pray for a good reinsertion from the officials. It is, you would hope that they would put him back up with this front group where it is, but sometimes you get let go in the middle of the field. Colby Lang's not going to be much help from there. There's Garrison moving up as well. Ian Garrison says, I'll take Colby Lang's spot.
Yeah. And there wasn't anything Colby did wrong.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing that we could see.
But it speaks to how close to the edge these guys are riding on every corner. You are centimeters away from losing that wheel. Go back and see if anything happened ahead of it. We just
lost his front wheel.
Yeah.
You can kind of tell that when he's, you know, hands out like that. It's kind of Superman. Oh, a little bit of a scorpion right there running into the barriers, bending back. Hope he's okay.
We'll see if Lang gets back in there as Project Echelon loses one of their booster rockets who had done so much work today. But now we may have to leave it up to the teammates. See if Garrison got in here. That's him, third wheel right there in the green jersey. They're getting a couple riders starting to infiltrate the train, and so now the door has kind of been opened here. They saw just a little crack, and they're going to try and force their way in here.
Oh, they're going to put Colby back in. Oh, my gosh, way at the back. Tell him, hey, man, I actually was third wheel when I crashed. You're meant to be put back. I mean, but yeah, it was actually his mechanic that pushed him in. It's fine. You know, it's again, well, maybe, I don't know that we'll see Colby back at the front of this race with 7 laps to go. Now it's just one of those things, if you get knocked off the horse, you got to get back on.
Rainstorm bringing a couple guys up. See those orange jerseys off to the side of the field? They're taking out some places. Garrison all the way to the front now. Chris Tolley moving up the outside, I think. So Matador Racing jersey.
You would think he would almost want to link up with Lawson, like,
yeah,
hey, we're both from Texas. Let's have a conversation.
And Garrison going to be the honorary 10th member of Project Echelon now. They'll let him in. Oh, little gap.
Garrison wants this to be a bit faster, so he essentially went to the front and set a faster tempo. Now, is Project Echelon laying off and letting these two roll it? You've got basically 8 guys now at the front, and if you lay off, it takes someone a little bit of realization, a little bit of time to say, oh, there's 2 up the road now.
Yep.
It's going to take a minute for anyone to try and bridge across to that.
Garrison.
It has to be the right person, though, for Project Echelon. Not let that. They will stay represented. That's why they have someone up there. They probably won't roll it.
Oh, that one's going to come back here. Still trying to get a look at these numbers. Our screen is a little pixelated here in the booth, so I apologize.
Either way, it's all back together.
I mean, that's all Garrison can do, right? In this scenario, if he's going to win out of a breakaway, you got to go now. 6 laps to go. It's not going to get any better. You're not going to have a better opportunity here.
Well, this is when we saw Elizabeth go. 6, 7 laps to go. Held it all the way to the end. Slightly different scenario having that many Project Echelon guys trying to chase you down.
There's a Rainstorm jersey moving up. It's really just colors, shapes, and numbers out there right now. Doing our best. But it's mostly just blurs of color for us. This is the other beautiful thing about Criterium Racing. All that work that Project Echelon has been doing all day, now you start to watch it unravel as these other riders come forward and Sometimes that's the heartbreaking story in a David versus Goliath story. No one ever thinks about Goliath, you know? No one ever thinks about how Goliath felt after David's victory. Got to think about the big guys, too.
Yeah, this is, you know, the closer we get to the finish, and to know that Project Echelon has basically been controlling this entire race. If they fail tonight, yeah, that's the big question, is what went wrong and why. So, you know, and that pressure just continues to intensify on their sprinter, and I'm guessing, like I said, it's probably going to be Cade Bigmore. If anyone can handle the pressure, I do believe it is him. His personality calls for it, and I think he can handle it very well. But at the same time, it's a bit stressful.
Good news is it has stopped raining. No more water falling from the sky at the moment. Better finishing conditions than we had about 20 minutes ago when saw some pretty heavy rain falling here. Now they just got to worry about the water on the road.
Yeah, I was going to say there's still a lot of spray.
This is still Tyler Stites, I think, up on the front. Eight guys up there now, and then a couple Legion jerseys behind them.
I'm going to gather at about 3 laps to go. It's going to be a bit more chaotic at the front.
Hey, you got to remember, there are a lot of deep teams in this field that we haven't seen much of. I'll put a Volo on that list. Talked about Rainstorm moving up. Miami Blazers have only put a couple guys up there. Same with the Legion squad. But when those squads come forward, it's going to be a strong statement when they get there.
I think my hands are already slightly nervously sweating.
Look at the rooster tails coming off of the rear wheels. These guys at the back.
That's like one of the best shots that we really get all night, is when the light hits them through that corner. Everything else is just, you know, this beautiful shadow coming through the darkness, coming right at you, and they turn that right-hand corner and you get that side view shot.
Talk about some of the differences of racing in the dark. I mean, this is significantly different from a daytime race. What goes into a nighttime race?
The shadows are so deceiving. You know, when you go past a light and the shadow passes you, essentially your peripheral is thinking it's someone moving up. So it's even that much more stressful, and until you kind of get your senses used to it, and you kind of really don't, because you're always kind of looking to see if anyone's coming up your right or left side. So again, talking to the importance of Project Echelon controlling the race, controlling the course, moving on the inside to then fan out wide to take the apex of the turn. It just kind of settles your nerves a bit, knowing that there's no way that anyone can move up, one, the pace that we are doing, and two, how we are controlling the race and how we are moving across this course. But yeah, the shadows, man, it just definitely plays with your brain.
Especially late in the race here, where you're expecting a move to come, you can sense that it's coming, but you may be chasing your own shadow. What is the right time for a team to come up and try and overtake Project Echelon? I mean, if you're a Volo, Rainstorm, Miami, Los Angeles,
it's going to be a little later than you'd think. One, you've got 8-9 riders still up there for Project Echelon, so from now until the finish, the pace is should only increase. which makes it so hard for the Miami Blazers. The rain, you know, you're thinking about that because rainstorm cycle racing, they only have so many guys to move up the Danny Summerhills and the Pelaton. And you're going to burn that one match, that one guy to move up past 4 or 5 project echelon guys. It's also going to be extremely dangerous because of the course and the conditions. So, you know, there's two folds going on right now. There's the repositioning behind project echelon to make this move that we're talking about, and 2, project echelon controlling the race as much as possible to negate that from happening.
Trying to get a look a little further back at some of these jerseys.
Black of Miami
Blazers. It's got to change at some point.
Wow. You're also seeing the move from inside to outside a bit more aggressive. That is an indicator that the speed is now increasing.
Still relatively large field here.
Yeah.
Considering 100 riders on the start list, there are a handful of riders that I think were probably scared off by the rain and weather conditions that didn't make it to the start today. Focusing on Sunday's race, I guess. But for those riders that were willing to get out here.
See Tyler Stites standing out of the saddle, getting back onto those gears. He's definitely trying to keep the pace high now. You have to slow down and be safe through the corners, get everyone through. His job is now done. He's just pulled off. Slow.
That's going to take 2 of the Project Echelon riders down. That's Boardman. And he's got 1 with him. Go back and take a look. It's going to be 3rd wheel right there. 3rd and 4th wheel both going down. I think that's Caleb Clausen, maybe the other rider with him. So -2 for Project Echelon, and then look what it's done to the field here. This is all the result of riders grab and break after that crash. You tempt fate enough, eventually it's going to come bite you.
Oh man, it just makes me nervous. It looked like Sam Boardman is okay.
And that was Kate Bickmore right there. I think I just saw number 69.
But what that did was create a huge gap.
Well, Boardman was 3rd wheel into the corner. He went down. Guys behind him caught on the wrong side of the split. And now these guys are going to try and solo this. This is a beautiful example of adapting to the situation here. Making the best of a team crash for Project Echelon. They are now going to try and send 2 riders away up the road here. This was certainly not in the playbook for Project Echelon tonight, but
roll with what you got. See, we can't get a read on who is up the road right now.
I think this is Bassett. But who does he have behind it? The 74? That would be Brendan Rim right behind him.
Brendan Rim.
Brendan Rim. 74 right behind him. Wow. Take him out of 5
man.
up to 6. This is going to be very similar to our elite women's finish, but the difference here is it's 2 guys away. Bassett trying to lead Rim to the line here, and the rest of the field trying to figure out what to do about it.
Then you also have Project Echelon basically sitting second wheel on whoever is trying to bring this back.
See if we can get back to the front. There's your look out of turn 5. These guys heading towards the final turn into 6. This is about the gap that Elizabeth Dixon has, so it's not over yet.
The difference is Elizabeth didn't have a teammate dragging her to the line here.
Bassett, first around, he's going to drop off Brendan Rim. Rim and Bassett
I wouldn't
going to
say
make sure, but they'll cross the line together as Project Echelon will go 1 and 2 tonight after the crash on the final lap. They make the best of it.
Wow. Wow.
And Scott McGill with a hand in the air as well. They're scoring Bassett on the computer first, with Brendan Rim second and Scott McGill third. We'll take that. Good enough for me.
Wow.
Unofficially, Stephen Bassett, your Criterium National Champion.
That I 100% know that was definitely not the game plan tonight. But you know what? Like you said, Brad, adapt, overcome, and that's what they did.
Unofficially,
Wow.
Bassett, Rim, and McGill. Project Echelon will sweep the podium tonight at the Criterium National Championships in a finish that no one could have predicted out there, as Sam Boardman goes down from 3rd position into the last lap, and the team comes up with a new plan in the rain tonight. Stephen Bassett going to be wearing stars and stripes for the rest of the season. Wow, what a finish in the rain. As we wrap up our elite men's race, we're going to try and grab a word with our race winner. But first, we'll take a quick break here from Charleston, West Virginia, and be back as we wrap up the 2024 Elite Criterium National Championships.
In second, it's Brendan Rim, and in third, with a sweep of the podium, Project Echelon Scott McGill taking home the bronze. That was dominant. I don't know what else to say about that performance. From the first half to the last half. Absolutely, in every way, and dominating, carrying the pace of the race the entire time. They had a little mini panic attack. One rider in the lead-up train at about 7 or 8 laps to go slid out. They recovered well. Michael Garrison trying to throw a wrench in their plans there. They worked through that. Had 2 laps to go. The crash taking out 2 of the strongest riders in that lead-up train. And then recovering.
Welcome back to Charleston, West Virginia, where we have just wrapped up the elite men's race on a rainy night in downtown Charleston, where we saw a shocking finish in the closing laps of our elite men's race. Let's go back and take a look at it. It started under relatively dry conditions, and I say relatively because we didn't know what was on tap for these guys, but really Project Echelon getting to the front pretty early, a few crashes at the back, but that's what they were trying to avoid all night.
Tonight was nothing but control by Project Echelon. They led a couple of guys up the road. Michael Garrison, Lawson Craddock trying their hand a couple of times, but yeah, unfortunately, a couple of the Project Echelon guys going down, but they had so many numbers, it didn't matter, Brad.
And able to cross the line, hands together, going 1, 2, And Scott McGill gets up there for 3, the cherry on top for Project Echelon. Doesn't get much better than that. You talk about making the best of a bad situation.
Definitely wasn't in the cards, I'm guessing, for a break for Project Echelon off the front, but Stephen Bassett coming away with the win, sitting up with his teammate Brendan Rim, taking him to the line, and Scott McGill coming out with the Pelaton sprint finish. Great result for Evan McQuirk. He's going to pick up 6th place on the day. Michael Hemmerlin getting a good result as well for the Landis Cyclery Trek team. He's got a lot to be proud of with the 9th place. And all the other names on here really to be expected inside the top 10. No big surprises there, except for Project Echelon going 1, 2, and 3. I don't know if anybody had that on their bingo card today. No way, Brad. We've been talking all night about Danny Summerhill basically sitting on Project Echelon, Miami Blazers sitting on with Tyler Williams. But you know what? That's bike racing. It can change in a blink of an eye. Well, certainly bodes well for Project Echelon on Sunday. Looking to the road race, they'll be looking to get their man up to the top step after a 2nd place and 3rd place. He's been on every step of the podium but the top one for Tyler Stites. No doubt, and Tyler also coming away with a 2nd place in the time trial this week. He is poised and ready for Sunday. He's had great results all spring, and I think he is very accustomed to the pressure now and very much willing to take that leadership role for the Project Echelon team. And those guys are very much willing to work for Tyler, and yeah, we'll see if he can come out on top on Sunday. Certainly wishing the best for the Project Echelon riders that went down. The good news is they were all able to get up and walk away from their incident, so that bodes well. But now you see the post-race debrief. Right. Anytime you see that hand gesture in the field, you know you're in for a long discussion with a bike racer. Overlapping of wheels, no thank you. I'm sure there was a lot of that going on out there tonight. Rain not even bothering these guys anymore. They're coming back down again. I love it. I do believe that's off of the river, one of the river boats. Now all the barges are responding out on the river. These guys are definitely going to be relishing in this victory. That was quite the attritional race to get to all 3 steps of the podium. I'll get a nice team picture on the line. There was a little confusion as they were coming to the line. It looked like Rim and Bassett couldn't really just decide who was going to be the national champion. Are we going to do hands in the air? Are we going to hold hands when we cross? Not a scenario that you plan for. No, not exactly, but I can't wait to talk to Steven and see his thoughts. I'd love to get both of those guys in here if we get the chance, because there is a story to be told for Project Echelon out there tonight. Project Echelon has got their work cut out for them ahead of the road race coming up on Sunday. That'll be their next big target. I know Project Echelon would like to get a Criterium National Championship, but they would love to get a Road National Championship for Tyler Stites. There's no doubt, Brad, that would be like the icing on the cake for this team this year. So definitely eyes on the prize for Sunday. I can't wait for all of the racing. We'll have that coverage live here on FloBikes again for both our elite women and elite men's race as we wrap up the Criterium portion of this weekend's national championship racing on some wet and wild laps out here in downtown Charleston, West Virginia. But in the end, Corinne Lebecki becomes your elite women's national champion, and Stephen Bassett pulls it off for the men. 2 Stars and Stripes jerseys that I'm excited to see headed into 2024. So that'll do it for us here from Charleston. For my partner in the booth, Lauren Hall, my name is Brad Soner, saying thanks for watching, and we'll see you back here on FloBikes on Sunday for the Elite Road National Championships.
I ride because I love it.
I ride for the friendships that develop on the bike.
I met all my friends through cycling.
I ride my bike because it's part of my soul.
I ride because it's awesome.
I ride to find stories. I ride to find rhythm in my life.
I ride because it makes me happy.
I ride for adventure.
I ride to be a part of something that's bigger than myself.
You've got a premium carbon frame, like Van Aert. So aerodynamic it defies the laws of physics. And a smooth group set, like Van der Poel. Shifting, braking, precisely. You've got the same fast wheels as Vingegaard, with the matte black finish, like Marianne Vos. You've got a sleek helmet like Romain Bardet, cutting through the air like a falcon. And the coolest kit on the Pelaton, like Carapaz. And the passion and courage of Cannonball Cavendish. Yeah, you got it all. But you haven't got the cotton tires the pros ride. Until now.